Hey everybody.
Hi guys.
So last week we got to talk a little bit, or I got to talk a little bit just with me, and that was super fun, especially when I heard actually went back and saw the recording, and holy cow, that was a lot of echo. Hey, thanks for telling me, everybody out there. Really appreciate you making sure that I knew that was, a horrific listening experience. So I'm really sorry about that. We're trying to fix that. So hopefully this doesn't sound like that. If it does sound like that,
Please tell us.
please tell us. I am watching the comments right here on my handy dandy phone. So there's that. But yeah, I've got Besa here with me. So
Hi.
This is Elizabeth Smith, as our sign says right there. This is Elizabeth Smith, and she is our worship team coordinator at the church, and that's a role that I could not do without. So I'm really glad to get to interview Elizabeth and introduce her to you. If you don't know her, we call her Besa. Do you want to who actually started that?
Okay, so it was Olivia.
Olivia.
Olivia is my niece, and she is 7.5. And when she was about 13 or 14 months old, she was babbling, and we noticed this word just kept coming out of her mouth. And one day she was saying it with just such fervor, and it was like, what do you mean? Show me Besa. She walked over, she put her little hand on my leg, and she looked at us, and she goes, Besa. And I said, am I Besa? And she looked at me like I had lost my mind and looked again and went, Besa. Okay, so I am Aunt Besa.
There you go.
To all of my nieces and nephews, and to Chris and John.
Yeah. Well, it's what my kids call her, so
Sure.
I don't really have
It's
an
true.
option there. It's a super, fun thing, but it's a good name.
It's true.
It's a really
I
good
love
name.
it. I told Chris yesterday, at some point I will be called Mom, and that will be the most precious thing ever. Until then, I love being called Besa. I
Yeah,
love it.
that's fantastic.
It's good stuff.
Well, Besa,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about yourself, because there's a lot of people at the church that know you. And there's a lot of people at the church that know you, but
true.
there's also some new people,
Yeah.
and maybe they don't know the wonder that is Besa. So they need to, where did you come from? Because you were not born in Tyler.
I was not born in Tyler. I wasn't born in Texas. I was born in Oklahoma. So I guess by birth I'm an Okie.
Very sad.
I know, it's so sad. I got here as soon as I could. I grew up in Weatherford, Texas, which is about 2.5 hours west of here. And when I was growing up, there wasn't much. It's really not much. You could drive past it on the interstate, never know you'd driven past it. Now it's a little bit bigger. But grew up there in a home with I have 3 younger siblings, Nathan, Luke, and Katie, and my parents, and lived there until I graduated from high school and went off to college, back to Oklahoma, oddly enough, for a year. And then I came back to Texas. I realized Oklahoma was not a good place to be. I needed to come home.
We went to the same school for a little while there, and
Yep.
where she had the sense to move back to Texas, I just stayed and finished.
You're still wondering about this.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, they paid me, so
That's true.
what
There
can
you
I say?
There you go.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But after, so you went to Oklahoma Baptist for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you came back to Texas and went to Tarleton.
Tarleton State University in
Woo.
Stephenville, Texas.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo. It was good stuff. It was a good 3 years there. There was a lot of pranks that were played. I did go to school too, but there was a lot of pranks that were played.
Is that where the pranking started, or did that start with your siblings before?
No, actually, it started with my friends. It was a guys against the girls war. And the guy started out by dunking all of us out of canoes in the middle of the lake, all the girls out, and then letting the canoes sink and leaving us there to get them. So
That's intense. That's not a little prank.
No, it's not a little prank. So that progressed with, we saran wrapped cars together and TP'd houses and picked locks on each other's houses.
Yes.
Things like that.
All the fun
Interrupted Bible
misdemeanors that you
studies
just...
with water balloon fights. It was great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's so fun. But then you graduated. What happened next?
I did. So I left Tarleton and spent about 1.5 years in Estes Park, Colorado.
Not too shabby?
Nope, not at all. If we could move those mountains here, Tyler would be pretty perfect, I think, actually. But yeah, spent about a year and a half there living and working. I worked in the housekeeping department. I'm a weirdo and I like to clean, so I will gladly clean houses for people.
We need people
It's true.
like that. We don't.
Don't ask me to cook, though. It's not good. But yeah, so spent about a year and a half there, and then thought that I was moving to Nashville, Tennessee to work with the Gospel Music Association. And God said, no, I want you back here. And through a friend of a friend, found out about this little camp called Pine Cove in East Texas that I had never heard of.
Little mom and pop shop in the woods.
Little thing, no big deal. And somehow got a job there. And I knew I was only going to be here for about a year. That was it. 12 years later, I was at Pine Cove for 3 years, worked in the registration department, and actually really loved it. I like details, which is good for my job now.
And all those ladies.
And it was a fabulous group of ladies. And left there and kind of floated a couple of different jobs, and Chris called me up one day and said, hey, I'm looking at hiring an assistant at the church. Would you be interested? And I said, oh, sure. I get to work for Chris Legg.
Yeah.
Of course. And it was only supposed to be for the summer. It was just for the summer thing, not going to go full time. And at the end of the summer, he called me up and said, just kidding, want to be full time? So,
nice.
And I will officially hit 9 years in June. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
9 years.
9 years. I really like you guys a lot.
Yeah. Well, we'd like you too, so it works out. What are you going to do?
That's true.
Well, you've been Besa for 6 years. Is she 7?
7.5.
She's
yeah.
7.5.
So for just a little over 7 years.
7.5. But Besa kind of like that. That was the title that came, but you weren't like you've been invested in these children one way or another for a while now, right?
For a good long time. Yes. Yeah. So my roommate Joanna Jordan, which you guys have probably all, if you've seen us at church together, I have one of her children with me at some point or another, I'm sure. But she decided to become licensed as a foster parent. She was actually licensed for 8 years total, I think. And so that is, I got to love on a whole bunch of kiddos.
Did she get licensed before y'all were roommates or
after?
After.
Yeah.
So y'all were roommates first.
We'd been roommates about 2 years. And she said, hey, I really feel like God is calling me to do this. And I went, well, hey, this is a conversation we've never had.
Yeah.
I have always wanted to foster, so let's do this. And so we did, and it was great. It is a hard roller coaster of emotions, and I like to tell people it's the hardest, worst, best thing that I've ever done.
Hardest, worst, best thing.
Hardest, worst, best thing. It is amazing. And if you've ever fostered, I feel like you can probably agree with that at some point. But yeah, we had 11 kiddos come into our home at some point or another, and 2 stayed forever. So Olivia is 7.5 and Clara is 3, and they both have more sass in their little pinkies than I do in my whole body. And
Claire's
I love them.
She's a little cartoon baby.
Oh my gosh,
with that
yes.
voice.
She's hysterical. Yes, her tiny little voice and her big blue eyes. And they're fantastic. I have loved to get to love on each one of them.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. There's 11 little babies out there that walk around with a piece of my heart in it. So.
But after Joanna adopted Claire Kate, things changed a little bit.
Yes. So she decided to close her license, and I went, well, guess it's my turn. So, so I got licensed. I was officially licensed last end of June, beginning of July. Got my first placement in September. Little chunky baby who was precious. And he was with us until the end of December. He left Christmas Eve, actually. And then last Wednesday, I've been waiting for the right phone call. And last Wednesday, the chunkiest, red-headedest baby boy was placed at my house. And y'all, he's a mess. I love him.
What's your nickname for this one?
Firecracker.
Firecracker. Because of the red hair, I'm sure that's it, though, right?
That's it. There's no personality that goes behind that at all. No.
Because he's a true redhead. He's not like blonde with a little hint of red or brown.
He makes me look blonde.
Looks light. No, he's Red-headed.
Yeah, it's amazing. And he's 11 months old and learning how to walk and
Oh my goodness.
into everything, and I love it. The girls are already in love with him, and it's fabulous.
Well, that's quite a house full of women taking care of that little boy.
It's true. Poor thing. He's got 4 mamas.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fun to hear you talking about all these kiddos and everything like that. But you said when you and Joanna had that conversation that was something that had been on your heart before that. Tell us about.
You are trying to make me cry, aren't you?
It's not hard.
It's true. It's not. It's really not. No. I had my junior and senior year of high school. I had the amazing opportunity to watch a family walk through adoption, and they have a daughter who is my age, and then they had a little girl who at the time was 5. She's now graduated from high school. Makes me feel a little old. But Hannah, they had adopted Hannah as a private infant adoption.
Okay.
And then they decided to go the foster care route. And had waited and waited and waited, and I got to watch their family walk through this process of being licensed and waiting, and the patience that they had. Her parents were amazing, and they just were waiting for the right baby. We were just waiting. And in March of my senior year of high school, they got a call, and it was about this baby boy. And his name is Zion, and he is now a freshman in college. And he was the most beautiful baby I had ever seen. And I still think that, I think. But when he came home, they asked us to be at the house. Said, will you please come and meet? We want him to meet all of the people who have supported us through this. And so my mom and I went, it was just the 2 of us, and we got back in the car, and I looked at her and I went, someday I'm going to do that. This is my story someday. Yeah, it's fine. We forgot the Kleenex tonight. It's fine. But yeah. And so I've just patiently been waiting. Like, okay, is it my turn yet? Nope. Okay, great. I'll hang out. I'll wait.
It's fine.
I'll love on everybody else's babies. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
And I have. It's been fun.
Yeah. Tell us about how you actually first came to know Jesus.
I don't know a time that Jesus wasn't a part of my life.
Yeah.
I was born going to church, but some of my earliest memories are my granddaddy was a deacon and a Sunday school teacher, and probably the wisest man that I've ever met. And his thing, like some of my earliest memories are going into his study, and he'd be sitting in his chair, and he had this table that always had a Bible and notebooks and notes and things next to it, and he'd be reading his Bible. And you could crawl up in his lap, and he would read to you whatever he was reading. It could be Leviticus, it could be Revelation, it didn't matter. He would just read it.
Sorry about the Leviticus.
So I know. I didn't understand. I just knew he was reading to me. It was
linen,
great.
fine twine linen. How many times can you say that?
I don't know. But yeah, so the Bible and Jesus have just kind of been ingrained in me from the beginning. But when I was 8 years old, it was at a VBS or something along those lines. It was a week-long thing. I remember that, and they asked us at the end, "Is there anybody that wants to become a believer, become a Christian?" And I filled out the little card. It was a Baptist church, so there was the card that went with it.
With the little golf pencil?
Yes, the tiny little golf pencil that I thought was really fun because I was 8 and it was tiny little pencil.
I mean, it's like it fits your hand then. Now it's
exactly. Now it doesn't.
What am I supposed to do with this?
And not too much later than that, our music minister set up a time to come meet with us.
Nice.
And his name was Fred, and he was fantastic. He came and sat and walked me through the gospel and understanding who Jesus was and who he was supposed to be to me. And I remember, so I think each of us has this memory of when I became a believer, this one thing that's in their brain. And we were living in a house that had mauve carpet, that ugly pink color.
No, it's great.
It's fabulous. And so Fred said, "Are you ready to pray?" I said, "Of course." And so my mom's on one side of me and Fred's on the other side of me. And were praying, and I couldn't close my eyes because I was afraid I would cry because I was so excited. But I knew if I cried, then I thought my mom and Fred would think something was wrong. And so I prayed this whole prayer with my eyes staring at this pink carpet.
Don't cry, don't cry,
don't cry. I know, exactly. I know now, like, the crying just started early. It's
It's still there.
Still, definitely. But yeah, and there have been different people throughout my entire life. A student minister when I was in high school, Billy, who on a regular basis would look at me and go, "Why are you here? Why are you at church every time?"
Because you were one of the kids that was always at church, even past your childhood. You were just
every time the
constantly
doors
there.
were open, we were there. We were serving. We were a part of. And so, it's easy, I think, for those of us that do that to lose sight of the fact of why we're there. That we are. I mean, the doors are open, so we just have to be at church. I think kind of, especially as a teenager, it gets in my brain or gets in their brains. And Billy didn't settle for that. And so I have a small fondness for student ministers and music ministers because of this. But each time a student minister or a music minister actually looked at me and went, "Why are you here? Why are you doing this? Who are you serving and why are you serving them?"
Right.
And so it was always a great reminder for me that I have to look at why I'm at the church. And to this day, I pull into the parking lot every Sunday, Wednesday, whatever time I'm here, and go, "Why am I here?" I can hear his voice in the back of my brain saying, "Why are you here?"
I'm fine.
Yeah.
That's good. It's always funny how when someone like that makes such a crucial impact in your life, that not only hits you right then, but like has a lasting impression on it. How formative that can be. That's not easily lost. And in fact, you not only are still saying that to this day, but you're also pouring into the lives of little student girls now.
Yep.
What
Seventh
class
and
are
eighth
you?
grade girls.
7th and 8th grade girls.
They're fabulous. I love them.
You're fabulous.
I love them. I know
That's
some
great.
people go, "Ooh, junior high." No. They're the best ever, y'all. The best.
It's just you're just so wrapped up in some insecurities in junior high that it's hard.
It's true, but
hard
they're
to
so
be loved.
sweet and they're so wonderful.
Well, good.
Yeah, but I do. I get to teach or be in the class. I teach with a team of 4 other people, 4 other leaders in our church who are awesome. And I get to be up there every Sunday and hear them, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I feel like 7th grade especially is the start of this realization of, oh, faith can be mine, not just my parents or my grandparents or whoever's taught me what faith is. And so 7th grade is this time where their brain goes, oh, this is mine. How do I want it to be? What do I want faith to look like? And so it's the start of the story, and it's so much fun to watch the beginning of that as they start to soak it up and take it on for themselves. So
That's fantastic. And you are there to remind them why they're there.
Exactly.
Or ask them why they're there. If nothing
I've
else.
asked that many times. Why are you here?
That's so good. Well, your role may not be one that's in a whole lot of churches in its, I guess, stripped down, like your title or whatever. So maybe explain to everyone who's like, I have no idea what a worship team or ministry coordinator, whatever it's called.
Worship team coordinator.
Worship team coordinator.
There you go.
I'm not as bad as Chris. I do know that she has a title.
It's true. I do have a title. He's not making it up. I think we'd have to know exactly what I do. My job changes regularly.
It does. It has a lot over these 9 years.
It has. I think the best way to describe my job is that if there's an event or something happening outside of children's ministry and student ministry, most of the time it's ours. Things like communion, fireworks. Fireworks is kind of shared. Seder meal is a good one. Easter and Advent, things like that. I do the details for that. If you want to break it down even further, I do details for Chris and John. That's really what it is.
Because we need the details.
I do theirs.
It's a lot of details.
I love them a lot. They need the details.
Like hey, we forgot to order something.
That never happens. Nope.
Shoot. Oh my goodness. That's a lot. What's your favorite part about your job out here?
Oh, just one thing?
Well, no.
Okay, I love that I get to coordinate baptisms.
Yeah.
Like, I get to do all that communication.
Because Besa owns the baptisms.
Yeah, like, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love getting those emails, especially from their parents, that their little ones are like so excited about being baptized, and then getting to talk to them on that Sunday morning and see their excitement. And then I stand behind the pillar up on the amphitheater and cry. as
Yeah,
they're
I was about to
baptized.
say, and cry.
I do, I cry.
The crying is real. It happens.
It's true. But I really do. I love, love, love that I get to coordinate that part of things. So
That's so
That thing.
fun. Yeah, even though sometimes they're inside and sometimes they're outside.
Yep. It
It's
doesn't matter. I cry all the
it's
time.
way
anyway.
more complicated than it seems like it should be to dunk somebody in water, but it's where we're at. It's a whole lot of fun. Shoot, no, that's great.
Yeah.
What do you have a favorite Chris story?
My favorite Chris story. And to this day, he still teases me because he's the one that ended up having to find it. I'd been working at the church. I started second week of June-ish. And our track camp that we do, our Teen Reach Adventure Camp that we do every summer, they were talking about Daniel, I think. And I get this text from him that says, "I need a ceramic Jesus, find me one." And I was like, what? You need a what? Also,
where do you get a ceramic Jesus?
nowhere in Tyler.
Okay, well there you go.
I called and walked through a place that you could get a ceramic crab. You could get a ceramic chicken. You could not get a ceramic Jesus. I think we ended up having to order one off of eBay, and Chris actually is the one that found it. He's like, "Here, this one will work." I'm like, okay, great. But it had to be ceramic because he was using it as an example of being in a fire and not burning.
Oh, okay.
And ceramic doesn't
Ceramic
explode
doesn't-
or burn in the fire. So.
It has been through the fire.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, yes, that was first experience of random Chris texts, and he does things like that all the time. It's great. I never know
But
what I'm going to get.
PSA, if Chris ever texts you and says, "I'm in a meeting and I need you to run an errand for," or what is it?
An email that says, "I am in a meeting and I cannot respond. I need you to email me back here. I have an errand for you." No,
Don't
it's
respond
not
to Chris.
him.
It's not him. That's just
It has
public
punctuation.
service announcement. It has number
It has
one,
punctuation in it.
and he'll call himself like Pastor Chris or
yes,
something like that.
or
and
Friar Chris. We got Friar Chris
that
one
was
time.
fun.
That was great.
That was awesome. I was like, that's way better. We missed your title by a mile.
Can we re-vote on that?
Oh my goodness.
We just want to tell them we're re-voting on it, voting on it, and do it.
Because holy cow. No, so don't respond to those.
No, don't do it.
That's not him. He asked Besa for those things. He does not
That's
ask
right.
you.
He does not ask you.
Oh,
I
my
get the weird
goodness.
texts. You're fine.
My life is weird.
Always.
Yeah. What? Oh shoot! Now I was gonna ask you about. Oh no, because you talked about pranking with your friends.
Yes.
Do you remember any pranks that have happened here at the church?
So, an executive teaching pastor and a worship team or worship leader, who will not be named,
Never.
somehow or another, did I leave my car overnight? We were at a conference or something.
No, yeah, you were gone for a while. I think it
And-
was sitting over there.
Yes, it was. And I came home, and somehow or another, they had gotten into my car, and there were Post-it notes covering everything.
It was awesome.
Everything, front to back. I actually thought I'd gotten them all. And it's when Olivia was little.
Yeah.
And she was still rear facing in her car seat. And I had a little mirror over the back so I could see her. And she kept going, a paper. And I was like, what are you talking about, paper? And I go to get her out of her seat, and they had Post-it noted her mirror, and she couldn't see.
Yeah, the mirror on like the back of the seat that you can like
Yeah. It was great.
do the geometry to like reflect your face back
Yeah.
at your child.
I found one in my gas, like attached to my gas cap. Yes.
I'm
So-
surprised that one stuck.
Oh, it totally stuck. Didn't find it till I had to go get gas the next time and went, really?
Those were really good Sticky notes. But that, I mean, honestly though, if Elizabeth was a office product, tool, whatever, it would be sticky notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are my love language.
They're your love language.
Yes.
So the sticky notes
Sticky notes and pickles.
and pickles and pickle flavored things. So if you're going to bring a treat for Besa, pickles would
That's
be
true.
a fantastic choice. Or pickle, like as weird a pickle flavored thing as you can find, really, because there was those like
Pickle peanuts. Those
Pickle
were the weird
peanuts.
ones. That was really odd. I think Chris found those actually.
there's a restaurant. I don't even know if it's still open because of COVID, and it was a small restaurant to begin with.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
called Crust over there on Old
love
Jacksonville,
that.
and they have a fried pickle pizza. How was it?
It was amazing. So not healthy for you. I'm not promoting this as healthy, but it's so
But
good.
really good. Oh my
was
goodness.
so good.
Well, you know, sometimes you just gotta go all out and
Yeah.
get the fried pickle pizza.
Yep. That was a weird one, but it
I
was
mean,
good.
you know, why not? What else
Yes.
does everybody need to know about Besa?
I don't know. I've told you a lot.
You have told me a lot, but I mean, you know, like I
lot, a
know a
lot.
lot, so I'm not. I feel like that's the hard part. What other jobs have you had in Tyler? Because you've had a few jobs in Tyler.
I did. I worked as a caregiver at an assisted living place here in Tyler, and I loved my residents there. They were amazingly wonderful. And then I worked as a vet tech at a vet office,
Yes.
which is really
Good old JP.
great. I know, loved it. Loved working for JP. I am highly allergic to cats, which goes really well in a vet clinic. So yes, I was.
There's a lot of technology over here. You got to warn me before
Sorry,
you say
don't
that.
switch water out. Yeah, so that is where I was working when Chris called me about
Yeah.
this job, and I was really grateful because you can only take so much Benadryl before it doesn't work anymore.
That doesn't seem.
It was good stuff.
That's bad.
It was great,
that's
but
a-
I loved it. We got to feed some baby raccoons one time,
Oh,
and play with all the dogs and the puppies and snuggle them, and I still played with the kittens too. So even when I shouldn't have.
even when you shouldn't have.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, Cheryl Smith said that's my girl.
Hi, Mama.
Just saying. That's a pretty great. What do you call it? The avatars?
The avatar. I know
Yeah.
she's got a good one.
She's got a good one.
Yep. It's sassy like she is.
We love you, Mama. Thanks for sharing your daughter with us. I'm going to keep interviewing Besa
Stop
for
it.
just a little bit longer.
Stop it.
She's feeling like she's done, but we need to know a little bit more about it. If you have any questions for Besa, you can type them in the thing, and I am watching to make sure that I don't miss anything. You've gotten a lot of hearts, though. I have noticed that.
Yay! I love y'all too.
We all love Besa because, you know,
Oh, it's
she's
fun
one of
to see
those.
everybody who's watching.
Besa's one of those people on a Sunday morning that when you come in, she's buzzing around a lot because there's a lot of different details that need to be checked. And I blame not being able to do the details on having other things to do. That's usually my go-to for why I'm not detail oriented. I've got something else that I've got to take care of. But the truth is that, you know, the body is gifted in different ways.
Yes, it is.
And she has Besa has a habit of every Sunday walking up to me as the band is trying to like figure their stuff out. We're getting everything in position and asking me if I'm good. What's the answer?
No.
No.
Every time. No. As a problem solver, that's hard for me.
I'm not good. No, I'm not good. The Axeworthies love you.
I love them too. Hi, girlies.
That's
And Bob.
fantastic. And Bob.
Can't call him a girly.
Sorry,
It's fine.
Bob. Bob. But yeah, no, it's I'm not good, but there's plenty that you know is going on in the mornings that
It's true.
uh,
It's true.
there's a lot of need for being taken care of, I guess, inside of that, and Elizabeth does a fantastic job of that. Yeah. the Hearts love you too.
Shannon and Brandon?
Yeah,
Hi,
Shannon,
guys.
Brandon. There's Brandon. That's a this is going to be a fun thing. I need to remember to ask for stuff like this at the beginning, because if you're asking for it at the end, it just doesn't happen.
I'm just really thankful you didn't email my mama first.
Oh,
and say, hey.
see, now you're. This is okay. The rest
She
of the
could have
staff
stories.
interviews.
I know.
Y'all help me remember. We need to do that.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Especially with so you've seen on the list, because
Yes.
we have the list of
You have a
Wednesdays
good
and who's going to be coming, and it's going to be a ton of fun. But Carly and Shannon have decided that they're doing theirs together. So I'm just go ahead and put the word out. If y'all have any Carly and Shannon stories, or if you know of who I need to ask about Carly and Shannon stories,
Oh.
that's going to be a lot of fun.
It'll be good.
Yeah. So a lot of y'all don't probably don't know, but I talked a little bit about our fostering. We fostered, but last week whenever I was talking about us, I didn't really talk about my children too in depth. Madison, we fostered for 400 days. Before we got, it was a little bit over 400 days, but 400 days before we got to adopt her. And then 7 days later after we adopted her, we got Micah. We actually got the call on Lori's birthday, which was...
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we were at the fair for Lori's birthday and we got a call.
Oh my gosh.
And he didn't end up coming until the next day, but we had him for 4 months. Yeah, he was 2 months old, and we had him for 4 months. And then he went back home. And we kind of thought, like, that's the end of that, which is, it's what we were told was going to happen. Maybe not that soon, but that he was going to go back home. So we were heartbroken, but, it was what was going to happen. And 5 months later after that, we got a phone call. And they were like, hey, Micah needs to come back if y'all are willing to take him. And also, he's got a little brother that's going to be born in a month. So Micah is 12 months and 2 weeks older than Cade. So we took Micah, and again, imagining that he was 11 months old and just picturing that he was going to go back home to be with mom and dad as soon as they could figure out their stuff, which made sense. And so when Micah first came back, he was not in a good spot. He was he had a hard time smiling. He was he wouldn't go to sleep unless you had your hand on his back, and I remember thinking, like, he's really having a rough time, because I think you could tell, and Lori can help me out with this. I think you could tell that he remembered us, and it wasn't like whatever, but he knew that something wasn't right. And so we had a lot of training with Dr. Purvis at the time, and actually got to talk to her personally. And at her suggestion, when Cade was born, they asked us if we were going to take Cade too, or if we could take Cade too, and we said it would probably be better if there's another home for Cade to go to, because we need to make sure that Micah gets back to where he needs to. And especially if he's going to go back to mom and dad, we just want to make sure that these boys have what they need.
Yep.
And we were thrilled when they told us that Cade actually was going to go from the hospital to Joanna and Besa's home. So Cade spent 6 months, because he was from July until January.
I think.
I don't remember when in January, but I've got it on a calendar. But they told us in November that we were going to be able to adopt the boys, and that was out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they
Yeah.
were. We were kind of in separate areas with that, but Cade actually went home to Joanna and Besa before he came home to us. And it's one of those things. If anything is going to make me cry,
You started this.
no, it's one. I don't want to not say things like this, even though it's hard to say. Like yeah, if that was a hard time, and it was not not being sure what was going to happen, or anything like that, and not being sure what the future was going to hold for these boys or anything like that, and knowing that having the I don't know if safety is the right word, the assurance
Yeah.
that, I mean, I don't have to worry about Cade. I'm going to worry about Micah, because
Yeah.
Cade has a fantastic home to go to and to be loved on
His little bald self.
with his little bald self. He was that towhead thing that just, even when he's got hair, he doesn't look like he did.
Nope.
And he had a huge head, and he was like that big. Mostly head.
True. He was so cute.
He's a very cute little boy.
Oh,
But yeah, and so Besa and Joanna have been looking after our kids for a long time, and they just continue to pour out that, like Chris says, that love that is motherhood. No matter what labels anybody else wants to put on it, that is the expression of God's maternal traits in our lives. They just keep doing it over and over and over again, and we're grateful for you and all of your stuff. Somebody from Hand in Hand is telling me that they only if we get to interview your mom about you.
I bet we can talk to your mama about interviewing for you.
Yeah, I mean, I would not be opposed to you listening to my mother, because she's fantastic.
I have so
She
many
is a
questions
treat.
I want to ask.
We've talked about that. I've talked about this with my mama. There are a lot of stories that time has taken away. I will ask her about, when my sons do something completely ridiculous, if I was like that as a child, and she just doesn't remember.
Oh, how nice.
It's very nice for me also when people ask really embarrassing questions, and I don't know who's going to come out looking better on that one.
Yeah,
But she's pretty amazing. She's a lot like your mama.
she is.
There's some sass involved there.
She reminds me a lot of my mama.
Yeah.
I like it. She
Does your
gives
mama
good-
give good
She
hugs?
gives good hugs like
Okay.
my mama does.
I would imagine so.
Yes.
Basic
Good
comes
ones.
from a good hug family. You can tell. It's
If you
When
give
someone
me a
has
wimpy
been-
hug, I'll make you rehug me.
yeah. When someone has been trained correctly, it's definitely.
It's true. It does take a little training. You're right. Just a
Well, I
little.
mean, you have to.
You have to figure out how.
I meant your sisters. Okay. Well, they on the other hand, we're not bringing my sisters into this.
I think
They've-
that's Donnie's.
Is that Donnice?
Probably.
Okay. Well, no, Donnice.
like her.
My sisters are out of the city now. Do you know Jennifer is moving back to Colorado?
Why wouldn't she? It's
Like-
the mountains.
Like 30 minutes away from Estes. What? Yeah. I'm gonna have to go see her this summer.
Oh, darn.
Oh shucks. Anyway,
Shoot. I have to go to the mountains, darn.
so if you love mountains, if you love kiddos, if you love pickles,
We can be friends.
you can be friends with Besa and just come ask her any questions that you have.
It's true.
Thank you for enduring this time with me. I know that was hard for you.
It's terrible. Awful. No good, very bad.
We're grateful to have Besa, and grateful to be able to work alongside her for the glory of God, and to equip the saints for the work that's in front of all of us. So thank you for doing this.
I love it. I love our staff and I love our church a lot. I'm not crying to end this, so it's fine. I'm done. I'm done.
It's fine. Well, we're going to pray, and then we'll pray for Besa and her ministry, and then y'all reach out to Besa and tell her how much you love her. Father, thank you for Besa. Thank you for the way that just like we can change somebody's name because of what they mean to us, you have changed our names and you have made us yours. And we see that fruit inside Besa. We see how you have changed her, how you have made her more like you, how you continue to do that every day. And we are grateful that we get to follow her as she follows you. Thank you so much for her and her heart for your gospel, that it would be made known to all peoples, but especially to these young ladies and to these children that you have blessed us with. God, we pray that you would continue to bless her ministry, that you would continue to bless her mama heart, that she would be able to impress on others, impress on these children that they are known and loved, that they have a safe place, that they are yours, and that you care for them deeply. Thank you for loving us like that. Thank you for the many examples of people that continue to show us that love, even when we don't deserve it. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for forgiving us. Help us to love and to forgive each other. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks, Besa.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Well, it's fun.
See, it's not so bad.
It was not so bad.
All you other